Next up, we have color 2, which is hope. And hope is driven by optimism and possibilities, acting from inspiration. Bring hope into others' lives, raising the spirit of others, acting from hope and not guilt. On the flip side, you have the transference, which is guilt, which is color 5, because 2 and 5 have that relationship. So hope shifts to guilt, acting from obligation or self-blame, and not being hopeful, but instead feeling guilty and trying to fix things and make them happen.
Yeah, it's almost, I mean, guilt seems like a manifestory thing, in a way, but it's just about getting through a checklist. It's about recognition, the guilt part of it that you transfer. It's about getting through a whole punch list of things. Whereas the hope, where you start, driven by this optimism, it's driven by true hopefulness. It's a spiritual place, by the way, because it's illogical as far as I can't have hope as a motivation and then put that on a professional business plan and ask some other company to purchase that for $1 million. Don't worry, it'll work. You know what I mean? The fear guy can go ahead and write up a whole foundation. Every other, the desire person can be like, this is how the leadership's going to work. All kinds of various things. But hope is like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's an active force. Hope is that thing that the Matrix man noticed in the movie The Matrix. I think it was the very first one where he was talking to Neo, the guy with the beard, and he was like, this thing has failed 7 times so far or whatever, and this one I thought would work, but always that thing, that quintessential greatest strength and biggest weakness of humanity, hope. That was what he called it, and I resonated with that big time. I was like, that is true. What does hope do? Hope moves mountains, because while you're sitting there in this sort of driven, optimistic, like just remaining a little bit hopeful and shifting along the way, it doesn't mean you're not bouncing and ducking and weaving as need be, because you're still doing stuff. You're still out raking the yard. You're still going to your job. The hopefulness is about a movement and a way that you have. And suddenly, in your not paying attention to it, like a good second line doesn't even realize, the hopefulness starts to just turn out. Almost a little bit like how the serendipity of Gate 46 works. In its subheading line right below serendipity, it points out the, pushing upward, that this act of totally not total serendipity at all. It's the accumulation of a bunch of things you put a whole bunch of work into and didn't even realize that came together in a confluence of serendipity that seemed like dumb luck, but it's really, the
Derives
collection,
from effort and dedication.
right? And a bunch of things you've done along the way. And so that's what this is. And so it ends up being that effort and dedication surrounding the hope. And the hope has its own type of innocence. And the hope is waiting to be called. And it's waiting to be called out of the being to be hopeful. Otherwise, they transfer. And what do? They try and fix everything, make checklists, get in and disrupt that hope in a very, yin process of guilt rather than the yang process of hope. And the guilt makes you try and fix everything. It makes you
Wouldn't that
try and
wouldn't that be opposite? Hope sounds very yin and guilt sounds yang.
hope is totally the phallic yang force. Don't worry, sweetie, it's going to work.
But guilt is fixing it.
Yes, mother, fix it. Wipe the diapers, get the thing, fix the kid, the nose. It's lines 1, 3, and 5 are yin. Lines 2, 4, and 6 are yang, slicing through.
Okay.
It's weird. It is
Yeah,
weird.
just trying to wrap my brain around that one. That's kind of new. Okay. Anyway, continue.
Mom doesn't sit there and hope. She wipes the baby's butt. Dad, the hopes someone else wipes the baby's butt.
Someone else is gonna wake up and take care of the baby.
Something like that. I mean, just basically, yes. There's a total there. Hope is a yang force. It's active. It's sitting. It's waiting, and it's looking. It's ready to pounce. It's the tiger or the lion just before the pounce. It doesn't know. It's just sitting there. I hope it doesn't move. I hope it doesn't move. I got the. It's an active state of awareness, waiting to be moved. And by the way, they'll move mountains along the way. And suddenly, because their hopefulness keeps a certain bounce in the step. It's a second line after all, second color. They all have these same qualities, right? This thing is just innocently sitting in its own little shell, sort of hopeful by nature. and doing all kinds of other stuff until called. And once called, it's like, oh, I already know how to do some of this. Oh, I've done a bunch of stuff that already knows how to do some of that. And the hopefulness takes off. When they try and push that river, they're into the transference. And now they're making a checklist and trying to get everyone they can to help them to do things. And they're not knowing which thing they should do first. And then they're doing way too many things. And then they're never doing anything.
I definitely see it. I have a hope projector in my life, and just seeing him run around trying to manage everything. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was tiring on his behalf. I was tired watching this little hope projector. And it was like, dude, just lay down. Like, just be this
Right.
hopeful little lightning bug. Like, you don't have to fix everything.
Well, guilt is very manifestory for a motivation. Even
Mm-hmm.
desire doesn't quite come close to it, you know. It does want to lead, but it doesn't quite know how it's going to strike out. It's still lower trigram.
Mm-hmm.
Guilt will inform the other and enlist the other. This is getting done.
So with the hope motivation, the left arrow is the theist, and they're looking for God, pursuing spiritual or belief-driven possibilities and following inspiring beliefs. On the flip side, you have the right arrow, which is the anti-theist, and they're more skeptical and rejecting of dogma and rigidity, and they explore diverse ideas toward self-trust while staying open to possibilities.
Since its second line, both incredibly spiritual, forever looking at the light. The second lines are just forever looking at the light as like to the detriment of the darkness. The darkness is always trying to be cast away until you transfer, and then it's all dark. And it's incredible darkness. This one hits more darkness because at least the investigator can start to investigate and recognize it's not right. The hope is just stuck in, I got no foundation and it's all darkness everywhere. I don't even know where
And then feeling like they need to fix it, but they don't know how to fix it. And
and
then
then they
just
don't,
spinning their
right.
wheels, it kind of seems like.
Right. And they'll run back out of it and they'll get back into their proper motivation because you can't stay in transference forever. It's just if you're not self and you're not recognizing, you're not in your experiment, you're not through your transformations, like starting them, looking at them, then you'll stay here far longer than you should, and it will affect the whole rest of your life if you don't get it fixed. This is a place, these transferences are an easy place to apply a tourniquet and stop the bleeding. Not even totally sure on your strategy and authority. I get it. Let's still tell you about your motivation. So you can put that in there because you'll see it. It's just to get you into the experiment. You keep seeing it, and then you'll start seeing other things. So I love this aspect of design because it is a place to, help correct a being.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Neither one of them dislikes God necessarily, although one may. And the theist is more, again, like the communalist, getting together, to do this thing. And the anti-theist is like, I might show up on my terms,
I'll find
because
God in my experience therein, maybe not in an institutionalized, formalized sense, but maybe going for a hike and seeing the beauty of nature and seeing God within the beauty of everything around them.
Danny, you need to be saved in this one particular way. To Jesus at this place with this baptism style and this thing
With this
through this church.
denomination, in this
Through this
outfit.
church, right?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, exactly, no, I don't. And so, thank you. This must have been opposite day. Thank you. I'll say to that person.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, that would be the anti of that because it's really also anti-proselytization because we've been a proselytized world. That's the whole seven-centered way was they proselytized with swords and on horseback with freaking trebuchets knocking down walls. And yeah, that was their version of it.
People telling you what to think and do
Yeah.
and believe
Or
and speak
die.
or die.
Or die at the end. It's kneel or die at the end of my
Uh-huh.
sword. Yeah, right.
And then
So,
is there anything else to say about because it's the trajectory, you go from the one side to the other.
well, yeah. So if you have a right facing arrow, you start out as the theist, and you're all about that, and then you start to move into your own unique way. Rightness is about moving to your own unique way. Leftness is about being strategic about things that will ultimately get you to your own unique way. And the strategic thing to do is to come together. And the right thing to do when you're on the right facing arrow, the upper tones, 4, 5, and 6, is to obey the upper tones and sort of separate a little.
Kind of do your own thing.
Yep, do your own thing. And then ultimately be called with all the others to tell them all about it. It's not like this second feature inside this person isn't hopefully going to run over and tell everyone what they just figured out. If it gets called out of them, they're going to start talking sooner or later. Depends what that other line is.